Hi everyone, and welcome to the Mikey Does NFL podcast for today's date, Friday 29th of October 2021. I'm your host, Mikey. Thank you for joining to listen to an Englishman talk about American football. Hope you guys have had a good week. Hope weather's been nice wherever you are. In England, it's not. It's been nothing but rain really, or cold weather. But yeah, hopefully we can look forward to the weekend. So firstly, I'm going to go through a quick recap of the Week 7 games. I'm going to go through some random ramblings again. Quick player profile this week. We'll be covering Maxx Crosby, defensive end for the Las Vegas Raiders, and Mikey's Week 8 picks. So stay tuned. So week 7's in the books. I went 10-3 with my picks last week. That includes the Thursday night football game that I could have changed the pick for the match because I recorded this after the fact, but I didn't. I'll keep it a buck with you guys. So Cincinnati Bengals beat the Baltimore Ravens, and they beat them quite handily. I picked the Ravens for that game. But I did say that I thought it'd probably be the game of the week. It's probably one of the best games of the week overall. Bengals got the win in Baltimore, 41-17. Joe Burrow threw for over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. Bit of an ill-advised throw into the end zone, trying to find Jamar Chase. He probably wishes he could have that one back, really. He was double covered, and it would have been a difficult throw and catch to make. So Jamar Chase, again, another outstanding performance. Star of the game, I'd say. 8 catches for 201 yards and a touchdown. It was a big touchdown. It was an 80-odd yard run, evading 3 players. So the rookie is cementing his status as one of the top wide receivers in the NFL, not just amongst rookies, out of all wide receivers. And he did this, don't forget, going against Marcus Peters, who's one of the better defensive backs in the league. Cincinnati put the game away in the fourth quarter, 2 big touchdown runs. Bengals win and they go top of the AFC North. Big statement win for them, given Baltimore's record recently against them. I think the Ravens were 4-0, won the 4th straight games against Cincinnati. The Cincinnati defence impressed me, really. They've been playing quite well all season. They're quite an unsung unit. They probably don't feature too heavily in like the sacks stats and whatnot, but they're in the top 5 for fewest points allowed for defences this season. So can Cincinnati keep it going? Can Burrow stay consistent? Hopefully Jamar Chase can continue to develop and put up these same numbers week on week. I mean, he has done since week 1, really, pretty much justifying the pick that they made. LA Rams, they won at home to Detroit. For me, that was probably the game of the week, probably the most interesting out of the lot. This was a battle of former QBs for their respective teams. So Stafford of the Rams, he's there by way of being traded from the Lions, and Jared Goff went the opposite way. So the Lions are winless going into this game, or were winless going into this game. And to be fair, they tried everything they could to win. Big wins for special teams, really. They had an early onside kick that they recovered, I believe, after they took the lead with a touchdown in the first quarter and recovered the onside kick, which surprised everybody. They also ran 2 fake punts as well, and they worked as well. So I thought Jared Goff, quarterback for the Lions now, played pretty well in the first half. Got a good performance out of DeAndre Swift, the running back, in both sort of the running and passing game. More so the passing game, had a big reception touchdown. Rams, they just sort of, you can't really stop their offense at the minute. The Rams, they kept plugging away and just pulled away eventually in the fourth quarter. Stafford, again, he's putting himself in the MVP chat. 3 touchdowns, 345 yards, or 34 yards even. Cooper Kupp, again, another big game out of him, 150 yards and 2 receptions. This got becoming quite the partnership. The Lions remain winless, and the Rams moved to 6-1, second place in the NFC West, behind the undefeated Arizona Cardinals. So elsewhere around the league, so the Bucks, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, destroyed Justin Fields in Chicago, 138-3. Felt a bit sorry for Justin Fields. The Bucks defense just mauled them, basically just created turnover after turnover. Some pressure now on Bears head coach Matt Nagy, I'd say, if there wasn't before, but probably even more so. So they need to pick up some wins as soon as they can. The Tennessee Titans, they dominated Kansas City. Wasn't a surprise to me. I called it last week. But they didn't have to have Derrick Henry running for 400 yards or 20 touchdowns as he normally does. Although he did throw a touchdown in the first quarter, which took everybody by surprise, including the Kansas City defense, as they didn't have the receiver covered. The Giants got a win over the Panthers. Again, that was pretty one-sided affair. Sam Darnold was benched for the Panthers. His early start to the season, that kind of seems like a bit of a memory, really. But they just sort of seem a bit lost without CMC, as any team would be. But yeah, the Giants. I did pick the Panthers to win that game, so they were quite disappointing, and a win for Big Blue. The Green Bay Packers got the win over the Washington football team. Aaron Rodgers scrambled, threw a touchdown across his body to Devontae Adams, which quarterback coaches probably would tell their quarterback to not do. So he scored a touchdown. Washington kind of stopped the run game, really, of Green Bay, but Green Bay got the win in the end. Big touchdown for Terry McLaurin as well, of note for Washington. The New England Patriots and the Arizona Cardinals demolished the New York Jets and the Houston Texans, respectively. And the Pats went for 50 points over the Jets. The Jets were without CJ Mosley, linebacker. As you can see with the sort of touchdowns that New England were scoring, they were all runs down sort of within 5 yards of the goal line. Arizona keep it rolling. Again, remain unbeaten. Contributions from James Conner. He got himself into the end zone. The Las Vegas Raiders and the Falcons got wins over the Eagles and the Dolphins. Falcons got their win via a late field goal. The Dolphins had taken the lead late on, but yeah, Matt Ryan managed to drive the team downfield, get into the position to win, and kick the field goal. The Indianapolis Colts, they won on the road in the rain on Sunday Night Football against the 49ers. I don't know if they controlled or managed to deal with the conditions better, seeing as the Colts are a dome team, they play indoors. But yeah, they just seem to have too much for the 49ers. Darius Leonard creating more turnovers. I think I saw a stat, he's created more turnovers than most of the teams in the league all by himself. So yeah, Colts keep it rolling. They get another win, trying to stay at a pace with the Tennessee Titans in the AFC South. The New Orleans Saints, they won a low-scoring affair on Monday Night Football against the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks still without Russell Wilson. And you can see it's telling. It was 13 points to 10 in the end. So again, very low scoring affair. Big touchdown early on from DK Metcalf. That's pretty much all Seattle managed to do, really. The game itself was not the best game for prime time in terms of entertainment. But you know, we can't hit home runs every week with the games that they pick. But overall, yeah, good week of games. Hope everyone's team got the win. Not everyone's team can get the win because that would just be impossible. But yeah, I hope whoever's listening, I hope your team won. Unless you're an AFC South team other than the Colts. So the big news of the week, and probably dominated the headlines for most of the week, the COVID situation in Green Bay. So the Packers, one of their defensive coordinators tested positive, I believe late Sunday or Monday. Devontae Adams the following day was then put on the COVID list, meaning his status for playing on Thursday was in jeopardy. Alan Lazard was then also added to the COVID list. I believe Lazard is unvaccinated, so protocols are different for him, so he wouldn't have cleared the COVID protocols on a short week, seeing as Green Bay played the Cardinals on Thursday Night Football. There was hope that Devontae Adams might have a slim chance of playing if he could clear protocols in time, but he didn't travel with the team on Wednesday, and on Thursday he was confirmed as being out. He wouldn't be able to clear the protocols in time. So this COVID thing is still around, and it's still a thing. Arizona were boosted by news in the week that Chandler Jones was coming back. But on the flip side, JJ Watt, it may well be done now for the season. He injured his... he's got a whole host of injuries that stem from one of the plays he made trying to go after the quarterback as he does against the Texans. He had a list of injuries but still finished the game, but I believe he's now having to have surgery, so that could be the end of the season there for JJ Watt. There's also November the 2nd, the trade deadline. Talk of who might be going here, there and everywhere. The biggest name probably coming out of all this is Deshaun Watson, possibly being traded by the Texans to Miami. He's got the off-the-field issues that need to be looked at and taken care of, but Miami seems to be the place that he's likely to end up in if he does get traded. Which I don't know where that leaves Tua Tagovailoa. He says he doesn't not feel wanted by Miami, but it must be hard for him. He's not played a full season yet. After being a first round pick last year and dealing with some injuries his injury his last year in college. Mark Ingram has been traded now from the Texans to the New Orleans Saints. He goes back there. I think he was there 3 years ago. He started his career there. Probably more to spell Alvin Kamara, because Kamara's workload is quite adequate, I would say. No Michael Thomas there still for the Saints. Not sure when he's ready to come back, but yeah. That might well be a good pickup for the Saints. Other players that are rumoured to be on the move: Allen Robinson from Chicago. He's been underutilised, I'd say, for the last couple of years, so I think a move will do him good. Evan Ingram of the New York Giants. Marlon Mack for the Colts. He signed a new contract after he was injured last year. He could probably go somewhere and start. Melvin Ingram of the Steelers, former Chargers player, linebacker. Kansas City looked to be rumoured to be making a trade for him, but it appears the Steelers don't want to trade to anyone inside the AFC. A few more days to go. Let's see what teams do. So now I'm going to do a quick player profile on Maxx Crosby, defensive end for the Las Vegas Raiders. Defensive end, 4th round pick in 2019 out of Eastern Michigan. So I have to say he's not a player that before the start of the season I had really on my radar. Watched the Monday Night Football, Raiders beating the Ravens, and was just impressed with this guy from start to finish. He just looks like a handful for the offensive lines. I like his style of play. He's tenacious, 100 miles an hour, trying to get to the QB. Reminds me in some ways of JJ Watt, Probably not as big physically, I'd say, in JJ's kind of prime years and earlier years. He had 3 sacks 2 weeks ago against Denver. He's got 5 on a year. Strangely, seems to me like he has more. He seems disrupting all the time, putting pressure on, leads to others getting to the quarterback if he doesn't get home himself. I checked out, so when I wrote this, I suppose Googled stats, and not surprisingly, he's got the most QB pressures and most QB hits in the NFL this season, which it's probably the reason why I think he probably has more sacks than he does, because he just always seems to be a bit of a game wrecker for the offences and the quarterback in the offensive line. He's spoken publicly about previous off-the-field issues and demons he had. I mean, that's a story within itself. I suppose he has Darren Waller there, the star tight end at the Raiders, who also has had some personal issues in the past. Probably good support network in that respect. On the field, he's causing issues along with Yannick Ngakoue rushing on the other side. The Raiders are 5-1 going into this bye week. You can look at the play of Derek Carr. Derek Carr's been surprisingly very good, or some might say surprisingly very good. But yeah, the defence has stepped up as well. Probably playing a little bit better on the back end. But yeah, up front seems to be kind of where it's starting for them. The Raiders are hoping to look to make the playoffs out of the AFC West. Also with the Los Angeles Chargers challenging and Justin Herbert. I think divisional games are going to be key for the Raiders. But an even bigger key, I think, is Maxx Crosby playing at a high level, continuing to play at a high level. And yeah, if he plays even better, he'd be in the talks for Defensive Player of the Year. I know Trayvon Diggs, Myles Garrett, those are the 2 front runners, I'd say, at the moment for Defensive Player of the Year. But I don't think what Maxx Crosby's doing for the Raiders is going unnoticed. Okay, so it's time again. Week 8 picks. Last week I went 10-3 with my predictions, so not doing too bad. I'll start off with the Thursday night football. So as I'm recording this, I'm recording this on Friday. Packers and Cards played last night. Packers were missing wide receivers, Lazard, Devontae Adams. I'd picked the Cardinals just based on that and because they're at home, but I bet on Green Bay with 6.5 point spread to cover. So basically giving Aaron Rodgers a 6.5 point head start. So yeah, if you haven't watched it yet, it's a good game to watch. The Falcons play the Panthers. I'm going to go for the Falcons, get their 3rd win in a row. Panthers again just look lost without Christian McCaffrey. Darnold was benched against the Giants. Not really sure where they go from here. So yeah, I think Falcons pick up another win. Colts and Titans. This is a tough game to call, I think. Colts, I think, look to be clicking at the moment. Titans have had 2 big wins as well against 2 teams who were sort of favoured in the AFC. Big divisional game. I fancy the Colts to win this one. Not sure why. But yeah, I think the Colts will outlast the Titans if they can keep, again, Derrick Henry in check this week, stop him throwing touchdowns, because if he's not running into the end zone, it looks like he's throwing them into the end zone. So if they can keep Derrick Henry in check and create turnovers as they have been doing, the Colts defense, then I think they'll be okay. Bills against Miami. I think the Bills will be too strong. This will be a bounce back win for them after losing to the Titans in a close game a couple of Mondays ago. This Miami team is pretty poor, really. Their offensive line doesn't look that great to me. Maybe they should have drafted the offensive lineman from Oregon. There was talk that the Bengals probably should have drafted him, but they've sort of made their pick work. But Miami, although yeah, Waddle is a very good player. I think they need to address the O-line, and it's not helping Tua. I think the Bills will be too much. Jets against the Bengals. Cincinnati for me. Jets gave up 50 last week. This week could be the same numbers. Don't know if CJ Mosley's going to be back for the Jets, but I expect, this would be a huge upset if the Jets won this game, but more the same from Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense. The Cleveland Browns against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I hate picking Pittsburgh games because I just don't know whether they're going to win or lose. Nick Chubb's back for the Browns, it looks like, and they're at home. So I'll go for the Browns in this one. Lions against the Eagles. I'm going to call it for Detroit to get their first win of the season against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the Eagles are missing Miles Sanders, it looks like, at running back. They just don't seem to be utilising the best players that they have, really. They need to get Dallas Goedert involved. They need to get Devontae Smith, first round pick, involved. But yeah, I think the Lions have, although they haven't won, they've played well enough in games to show that, maybe it's not going to be an 0-17 season for them. So I think this weekend the Detroit Lions win their first match of the season. You heard it here first, kind of. The Houston Texans against the Rams. No such upset here. The Rams, I think, will win this quite comfortably. The Rams offense still looks to be rolling. Stafford, another big performance, and he puts himself into that MVP candidate, early season candidate picture. Rams will be too much, I think, for them. The Bears are the 49ers. San Francisco not playing that great at the moment, but neither are the Bears. I think the 49ers win this one. Not much to call. 2 rookie quarterbacks, Trey Lance for the 49ers, if he's fit, and Justin Fields of the Chicago Bears. Some people, myself included, thought maybe the 49ers should have gone and got Justin Fields in the draft. For whatever reason they didn't, and some other teams didn't go for him either. I still think he's a good quarterback. But he's a quarterback in Chicago, which isn't great. So I'm going for the 49ers to win this game. The LA Chargers against the New England Patriots. So the Chargers back off their bye week after their tough loss against the Baltimore Ravens. Pats, their tails are up. They beat the dog snot out of the New York Jets last week. I think this will be a close game, but I think the Chargers will win. After their bye week, they'll bounce back. Justin Herbert and co. get the win. The Seahawks against the Jags. I think this is going to be the start of a mini streak for Jacksonville. They had a long losing streak. I think they win this game against the Seahawks. Smith, capable, but yeah, is he going to do the business for them? I don't think so. Jacksonville to win this one for me. The New Orleans Saints against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This could be the game of the week, really. Divisional game. Gronkowski, the tight end, he looks to be back this week. He's been back in practice. I think he was a full participant in practice yesterday. The Bucs defense looks very strong. This will be a good game. It'll be a very tough game. I fancy the Bucs to win this game. Denver Broncos against the Washington football team. Tough one to call, I think. Denver is struggling. Likely they will be without Von Miller. Rushing off the edge. I don't think he's practiced this week. It might be a game time decision if he gets another practice in today. But yeah, I think Washington win this one. I don't think it's going to be a classic, but Washington to win. Sunday Night Football, the primetime game. Late Sunday game for us over here in the UK. Vikings against the Cowboys. Bit of concern around Dak Prescott carrying a bit of a calf injury. They've had the bye week last week. Byemageddon, as some fantasy football players would attest to. Hopefully you survived as well as I did. The Vikes D is a lot better than I thought it would be. Looking forward to the potential matchup between Justin Jefferson and Trayvon Diggs, college rivals LSU and Alabama. I think the Cowboys will win this one on the proviso that Dak Prescott suits up and is healthy to play. If not, maybe the Vikings. But yeah, providing Dak plays and is healthy, I'll go for Dallas. If not, I'll go for Minnesota. Brings us to Monday Night Football. Kansas City Chiefs and the New York Giants. I think the Chiefs bounce back and get a win. I know the Giants won last week, but against a poor Carolina team. Shout out to Danny Dimes, Dan, with the one-handed catch there down on the right-hand side. Very impressive. I didn't think he had it in him, but yeah, fair play. Looks like Mahomes should be good to go. He had a bit of a nasty incident against Tennessee, where he went down and was kind of kneed in the head, and his neck snapped back even, and it looked quite bad. But yeah, I think he's cleared concussion protocol. Yeah, I think the Chiefs bounce back. Been a rocky start for them for one reason or another, but I think they'll have a bit too much on prime time against the New York Giants. So guys, hopefully you've enjoyed that, my rambling. That was a Mikey Does NFL podcast. Have a great weekend, everyone. Hope you enjoy the games this weekend. If you do enjoy it, then yeah, you can find me on Twitter. The handle is Mikey Does NFL, or @Mikey Does NFL. And I'll speak to you next time. Take care.